Ladies and gentlemen, as you all know, you are welcome specially to the university's 98th Inaugural Lecture titled Stubbornness and the Goat, a Romantic Paradox. And the lecture today is to be delivered by a world-renowned expert in reproductive physiology, Professor James Olamitibo, Daramola of the Department of Animal Physiology, College of Animal Science and Livestock Production. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, please let's put our hands together for him. Thank you very much. As we are waiting the procession, please, when the procession is filing in, we are all expected to stand in reverence to the procession. On this note, I would like to respectfully introduce to us in this hallowed Oluwafemi Balogun ceremonial building today, the wife of the first substantive vice chancellor of this great university, Professor Elizabeth Balogun. Please let's give her a round of applause. Distinguished university community members, ladies and gentlemen, I would also like to respectfully introduce to you one of the biggest species on this campus. Someone who is retired but not tired. Someone who has pioneered so many centers in this university. He was the pioneer head of the Department of Animal Physiology. He was the pioneer director of the Institute of Food Security, Environmental Resources and Agricultural Research. He is a fellow of the Nigerian Society for Animal Production and also a fellow of the Animal Science Association of Nigeria. Distinguished university community members, ladies and gentlemen, it is my greatest honor this afternoon to respectfully introduce to us Professor Olusegun Oshinawo. Today is a glorious one for this great citadel of learning, as there are several golden fishes on this campus today. On this note, I would like to also respectfully introduce to you someone who is retired also, but not tired. Someone who has been toiling day and night in this university to continue to put us on the global map. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I have someone here who has the patent of the Funab Alpha chicken here present with us today. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, dear university community members, I would like to respectfully introduce to us Emeritus Professor Oluwafunmilayo Ayoka Adebambo. Also here present today is a world-renowned veterinary doctor, a former Deputy Vice Chancellor of Academic in this great citadel of learning, Professor Morenike Dikpeolu. Please let's give her a round of applause. Thank you very much. I would also like to introduce to us the wife of the 98th inaugural lecturer, Mrs. Eunice Olufunke Daramola. Please, let's give her a round of applause. Thank you very much. We have in our midst members of staff of the Department of Animal Physiology adorning this adira. Please, let's give them a round of applause, please. Professor Smith, I cite you, sir. You are former neighbor in the Directorate of Public Relations. Thank you for gracing this occasion. Thank you, sir. Also, I would like to recognize the presence of the members of staff of the Information and Communications Technology Resource Center. Please, let's give them a round of applause. Just entering this hallowed Oluwafemi Balogun ceremonial building is the immediate past Deputy Vice Chancellor Academic and the University Orator, Professor Christian Ikeobi. I would also like to recognize the presence of members of staff of my constituency, the Directorate of Public Relations. Please let's give them a round of applause. Thank you very much. As I stated earlier, we are here gathered for the university's 98th inaugural lecture titled Stubbornness and the Goats, a Romantic Paradox. And is to be delivered by world-renowned expert in reproductive physiology, Professor James Olamitibo Daramola of the Department of Animal Physiology, College of Animal Science and Livestock Production. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, the vision of our university is laden inside the acronym FUNAB, whereby the F stands for Focused Leadership and Efficient Administrative Machinery. The U stands for the Unique Fund Generation and Resource Management System, while the N stands for Networking for Effective Linkages and Partnerships. A stands for Academic Renaissance and Quality Research, while the other A also stands for Actively Promoting Staff and Student Welfare, Peace and Security, while the B stands for Broad-Based Infrastructural Development. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, the procession will be filing in some few minutes, and we are all expected to stand and remain standing in reverence for the procession. Our vision is to be a center of excellence in knowledge generation towards global development and the sustainability of an environment-friendly society. Our mission is to build great leaders, found worthy in learning and character. Also, to generate and advance knowledge through teaching, research, and provision of excellent learning conditions. And the last but not the least on our mission is to contribute to sustainable development through community engagement. Our core values are derived from the acronym exegesis, whereby the E stands for excellence, I, integrity, G, global relevance, I, innovation, and S for service to humanity. Distinguished university community members, ladies and gentlemen, you are all welcome, especially to the university's 98th inaugural lecture titled Stubbornness and the Goat, a Romantic Paradox. to be delivered by no other person than a world-renowned expert in reproductive physiology, Professor James Olamitibo, Daramola, of the Department of Animal Physiology, College of Animal Science and Livestock Production. Distinguished university community members, ladies and gentlemen, please let us rise in reverence for the upcoming procession. Thank you very much. Leading the procession is our Director of Academic Planning, Professor Olajide Shogunle. We have on that procession Director, Agricultural Media Resources and Extension Center, Professor Jacob Olaoye. Also on that procession is the Director of Center of Excellence in Agricultural Development and Sustainable Environment, and also a member representing the Senate on the University Governing Council, Professor Adeboye Fafiolu. We have the Director, Center of Entrepreneurial Studies, Professor Ibitaye Ayojon. Also the Dean, College of Plant Science and Crop Production, Professor Bolanrewase Njobi. We have on that procession, the Dean, College of Environmental Resources Management, Professor Olusegun Oguntoke. We have the Director of Agriculture of the College of Agricultural Management and Rural Development, also a member of the Governing Council representing the Senate, Professor Emmanuel Fakoya. Thank you very much. We have the Dean, College of Animal Science and Livestock. Thank you very much. We have on that procession the University Librarian, Professor Bayomi Owolabi, the Bossa, who is ably represented by Mr. Valentine Egbuna, the Registrar, Dr. Titus Adede Jadini, the Deputy Vice Chancellor of Development, Professor Kola Adebayo, the Deputy Vice Chancellor Academic, Professor Olukayode Akiyemi, and we have our Vice Chancellor, Professor Olushola Babatunde Kende, Fellow of the Genetic Society of Nigeria, Fellow of the Institute of Health and Safety, and also Fellow of the Agricultural Society of Nigeria. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, the national anthem, please.
Nigeria, we hail thee, our own dear native land, though tribe and tongue may differ, in brotherhood we stand. Nigerians old and proud to serve our sovereign fatherland. Our flag shall be a symbol that truth and justice reign. In peace or battle honored, and this we count as gain. To hang unto our children a banner without stain. O God of all creation, grant this our one request. Help us to build a nation where no man is oppressed, and so with peace and plenty, Nigeria may be blessed.
Funab anthem, please.
For the mountains far and near,
Thank you very much. May we all be seated. Thank you very much. Today we are gathered for the university's 98th inaugural lecture titled Stubbornness and the Goats, a Romantic Paradox. Distinguished university community members, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to respectfully introduce to you this afternoon the Vice Chancellor and the Chairman of the Inaugural Lecture, Professor Olushola Babatunde Kehinde. The Vice Chancellor is a fellow of several professional bodies, some of whom are the Fellow of the Agricultural Society of Nigeria, Fellow of the Institute of Health and Safety, and also Fellow of the Genetic Society of Nigeria. Please just give him a round of applause. Joining the Vice Chancellor this afternoon is the Deputy Vice Chancellor Academic, Professor Olukayode Akinyemi. On the top table this afternoon is the Deputy Vice Chancellor Development, Professor Kola Adebayo. On the other side of the divide is our Registrar, Dr. Titus Adeniyi. The representative of the bursar is there with us this afternoon, and is no other person than the Deputy Bursar, Mr. Valentine Egbuna. The University Librarian is there, Professor Abayomi Owolabi. We have with us this afternoon the Chairman, Committee of Deans and Directors, and also the Dean, College of Physical Sciences, Professor Adio Akinwale. The Dean, College of Animal Science and Livestock Production is also here with us, Professor Abimbola Osho. We have the Head of Department of Animal Physiology on the other side of this divide, and it's no other person than Professor Monsuru Abioja. Dear university community members, ladies and gentlemen, this is the first inaugural lecture series in this second semester of the 2024-2025 academic session. You are all welcome to FUNAB once again, the best university of agriculture in Africa and the 7th best in the world. Thank you very much. You are all welcome once again to this thought-provoking lecture, where the 98th inaugural lecturer is bid to explore the fascinating interplay between stubbornness and romance, using the goat as a symbolic lens. The goat, often seen as a creature of determination and defiance, mirrors human tendencies in relationships, where persistence can either nurture love or become an obstacle to harmony. Our 98th inaugural lecturer will today examine the fine line between resilience and rigidity in romance, questioning when unwavering devotion strengthens bond and when risk pushing partners apart. As a reproductive physiologist, our 98th inaugural lecturer is poised to provide the path to understanding these relationships, determination and defiance that is enlightening, captivating, and highly educative. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming the university's 98th inaugural lecturer from the Department of Animal Physiology, College of Animal Science and Livestock Production, a world-renowned scholar in reproductive physiology, a member of the American Society of Microbiology, and also a member of the International Goat Association. Professor James Olamitibo Daramola, and the lecture is titled Stubbornness and the Goat, a Romantic Paradox. Thank you very much. With the permission of the Vice Chancellor, I would like to respectfully welcome the 98th Inaugural Lecturer's family members, led by his wife, Mrs. Eunice Olufunke Daramola. I also like to recognize the presence of all deans, directors, heads of departments, and heads of units here present. The Department of Animal Physiology in their very sweet attire. Please just give him a round of applause. Thank you very much. Members of the ceremonials committee, led by the chairperson, and astute small animal reproduction clinician, and a distinguished authority in genealogy, Professor Timitope Ajadi. Please let's give her a round of applause. On this note, it is now time to respectfully invite the Vice Chancellor and the chairman of this inaugural lecture, Professor Olushola Babatunde Kehinde, to please give the Vice Chancellor's address. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Please have your seat. Kindly have your seats, please. The Deputy Vice Chancellor Academic, Deputy Vice Chancellor Development, the Registrar, the Bossa, ably represented here, the University Librarian, Dean, College of Animal Science and Livestock Production, other deans and directors, Head, Department of Animal Physiology, other heads of departments, programs and units, distinguished members of the University Senate, all special guests of the university, all academic and non-teaching staff, members of the families and friends of the inaugural lecturer, gentlemen of the press, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, great Funabites. May I ask the inaugural lecturer of today, Professor James Daramola, to please stand and remain standing. I have the pleasure to welcome you all to the 98th edition of the inaugural lecture series of the Federal University of Agriculture, Abeokuta, Ogun State, Nigeria. Our inaugural lecturer today, Professor James Olamitibo Daramola, was born on September 15, 1963 in Idogun, Ose, local government area of Ondo State in Nigeria. He started his elementary education at St. Paul Anglican Primary School, Idogun, and completed it in 1978. His secondary education at Idogun High School, Idogun, between 1979 and 1984. He proceeded to Adeyemi College of Education, Ondo, in 1985 for his NCE program in Agricultural Science Education, and was admitted as a pioneer student in 1988 for a Bachelor's of Education Agric Science degree program at Adeyemi College of Education, and finished with second-class upper in 1990. After his National Youth Service Corps assignment, Professor Daramola served as supervisor with the Presidential Task Force on Alternative Feed Formulation for Livestock, Ilorin Center, under the leadership of Professor Oluwafemi Olaiya Balogun in 1992. He proceeded for his MSc in Animal Production at the University of Ilorin between 1993 and 1995. And in 2006, he bagged his PhD in Animal Production. Professor Daramola was employed as an assistant lecturer in 2004 at the University of Ilorin and was upgraded to Lecturer 2 in 2006. In 2008, he was appointed Lecturer 1 in the Department of Animal Physiology, Federal University of Agriculture, Abeokuta, where he rose through the ranks to become a professor of reproductive physiology in 2017. Our inaugural lecturer presented a project on artificial insemination in farm animals, an NTA documentary program on Voyage of Discovery in June 2006, and conducted in Nigerian universities in collaboration with the National Universities Commission. He also served as assistant program leader in the Livestock Science program at the Center of Excellence in Agricultural Development and Sustainable Environment, CADES. He received Vice Chancellor's commendation for outstanding contribution for World Bank African Center of Excellence. Special assignments to community service. Professor Daramola served as a pioneer coordinator and head of program, FUNAP Foreign African Scholarship Scheme, FUFAS, a team leader and principal investigator for several research grants and a reviewer for several international journals. At a point, Professor James Daramola was appointed as member of a 3-man team that visited Sierra Leone on request by the Sierra Leonean government for assistance to establish the College of Veterinary Medicine in Njala University, Sierra Leone in the year 2012. Professor Daramola was appointed as a member of the National Action Plan on Animal Genetic Resources and a member of the National Advisory Committee on Animal Genetic Resources in Nigeria in year 2017. He's a Merit Award winner of Support Scheinfurt Foundation, Germany, on sustainable agriculture in sub-Saharan Africa. Membership of professional bodies. Professor Daramola is a member of many academic and professional bodies, namely International Goat Association. Many of us are just knowing that such an association exists. The Nigerian Society for Experimental Biology, the Nigerian Society for Animal Production, among others. Professor Daramola has to his credit over 70 articles in reputable journals and books. He has mentored and supervised many undergraduates, MSc dissertations, and 6 PhD theses. Professor James Daramola is happily married to Mrs. Eunice Oluwafunke Daramola, and they are blessed with 4 children. Distinguished colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to invite Professor James Olamitibo Daramola to present his inaugural lecture titled Stubbornness and the Goat, a Romantic Paradox. Thank you for your attention. God bless you all.
The Vice Chancellor, Deputy Vice Chancellor Academics, Deputy Vice Chancellor Development, Registrar, Bossa, University Librarian, Deans College of Animal Science and Livestock Production, Deans of other colleges, postgraduate schools and student affairs, Director of centers and institutes, Head Department of Animal Physiology, Heads of other departments and units, distinguished members of University Senate, distinguished academics and professional colleagues in FUNAP and from other universities, members of non-teaching staff, members of my immediate and extended families, all other special guests and friends of the universities, gentlemen of the press, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, great FUNABite. I count it a privilege, with a heart full of gratitude to God to stand before you to present my modest research contribution in animal physiology. Today's inaugural lecture is the 98th of this great university and the 13th from the College of Animal Science and Livestock Production. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, our university, FUNAM, has evolved to become a leading institution in animal physiology. The first university in Nigeria to establish the Department of Animal Physiology. We stand as a testament to FUNAM's commitment to excellence in animal science education. I am therefore thrilled to deliver the first inaugural lecture from the Department of Animal Physiology, Federal University of Agriculture, Abeokuta. The awesome creatures. The subject of this lecture is a creature that has lived with man for thousands of years, often overlooked, yet integral part of traditional practice worldwide. A small size called chewing mama belonging to the genus Capra, a 4-compartment stomach specially designed to digest roughage. Forages amongst the diet and the microbial populations are critical. Otherwise, the animal will draw its last breath. So it is called ruminant. The head with the horns symbolizes strength and wisdom, and the beard signifies intelligence. 2 sets of toes in each foot to maintain balance, and special eyes to see on a wider reach. Very enterprising in surviving under harsh conditions. This awesome creature is called the goat. The Yorubas relish its meats called ogufe in a meal of amala, ewedu and gbegiri. The Igbos love the goat head, isi in a delicious traditional Igbo dish. Hausa hold dear to its meat called nama akuya. The goat, an amazing treasure. The goats often refer to as the poor man cow because they often live in places where other animals fail to thrive. Besides meat and their products, they provide additional income by value additions, including leather products. The little capital investment required for their upkeep, coupled with high reproductive efficiency, made the goal ideal for families, therefore of considerable economic importance in food security. Human antipathies toward the goat. Despite the importance of goat, these animals do not receive recognitions to match their importance. Man unconsciously abuses this animal, labeling it stubborn and mistaking the animal for evil, keeping the animal in what is convenient for him, dishing the animal without remorse. Little wonder, man turns around in Yoruba parlance and says, ewúrẹ́ jẹ́ ẹran ilé tó máa ń jìyà púpọ̀ nítorí àìgbọ́ràn rẹ̀. Tí wọ́n bá na ewúrẹ́, á gbọn etí méjì pépé ká tó ṣẹ́jú pẹ́. Á tún padà síbi tí ó ti jìyà lẹ́ẹ̀kan. Ẹ̀yin ọmọdé ẹ gbọ́, ẹ má ṣe bí ewúrẹ́, ẹran aláìgbọ́ràn. The goat is a domestic animal that gets scolded a lot because of its stubbornness. If a goat got whipped, it will shake its ears smartly. Before the blink of an eye, it will return to the place where it just got scolded. Children, listen attentively. Do not behave like a goat, a stubborn animal. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, distinguished audience, why it is my disposition to discard this assault as part of the ranges, controversies, misconceptions, and ignorance of man. My position as an expert in the field of animal physiology and animal science compelled me to act in line with Yoruba saying, "A kì í fi ní joyè àwòdì, ká má lè gbádìyẹ." In other words, one should be able to live up to expectations. Therefore, the clarification of this misconception about goats, coupled with my research activities devoted to advance the preservation of this animal, hated except loving what it brings to the table, more useful than any other animal, but badly reputed and much abused, is what gave birth to the title of this lecture, Stubbornness and the Goat, a Romantic Paradox. In defense of the goat, Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, distinguished audience, in line with Section 495 of the Nigeria Criminal Code, I stand before you to defend my clients, the goat, who have been unfairly labeled and ascribed with stubbornness. I shall present evidence and prove beyond reasonable doubt, and then at the end, ask for a verdict of not stubborn as labeled by man. Mr. Vice Chancellor may thereafter so wish to confer on me honorary degree in law and senior advocate for GOAT, SAG, in animal welfare. Distinguished audience, actions speak louder than voice. The body language of Mr. Vice Chancellor does not need further interpretation. I therefore proceed with the concept of stubbornness as witness. Stubborn goat, a conversant expression portraying someone I've had a lot while growing in a traumatic childhood, shrouded with curiosities. What is the reason for sparking? Some young stars were applauded for sticking to rule, while others received the sparking for doing what they felt was right, or while exploring or asking for other things. Do what they felt was not right. They accepted, and then they received the marker, stubborn goat. What then is stubbornness? Stubbornness defined. The word ostinatus, translated from Latin, means two different things. First, it means obstinate, citing example in Oxford Dictionary. His error was sheer stubbornness in refusing to admit a mistake. Second, it means firm, resolve, or resolute, citing example from Cambridge Dictionary. In their peacetime struggles, they will fight with stubbornness and tenacity, born out of a righteous conviction of a just cause. Stubbornness from the foregoing definitions. The description of stubbornness differ. One is negative and the other one is positive. On one hand, positive stubbornness involves the ability to continue on a course of action despite difficulties. It is generally seen as a positive trait, reflecting resilience and tenacity. Stubborn goat, someone is a goat for doing something great. Therefore, goat is an acronym for greatest of all time, a status of great achievement bestowed upon individuals who are exceptional in their field. Messi beat Ronaldo to goal status after data analysis, says Liverpool FC research directors. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, this is desirable, a great opportunity indeed, and I do hope you will work hard to exceed your predecessors to merit this great title, GOAT, greatest of all time. Stubbornness in the positive is clearly illustrated in the Ijeshas, a sub-ethnicity of the Yorubas believed to be linked with Agidi, stubbornness. When there's 2018 decoded this erroneous derogatory impression that the concept has attracted and established that the concept represents enterprises, courage, and hospitalities. The Ijeshas are courageous fighters for justice. This accounted for their victory against the Ibadan imperialisms when Ogedengbe, in alliance with Fabumi of Okimesi, in the famous Ekiti-Parapọ̀ Confederacy, conquered the Ibadan army between 1877 and 1893. The victory and then the accolade, Alagidi, stubborn people. When there's 2018, further used proverbs in the dialect of the people to deconstruct these misconstrued concepts. And I would like to mention one of these proverbs. Ọ̀dájú ló bí owó, òtìjú ló bí gbèsè. Meaning, audacity brings wealth, timidity leads to bankruptcies. A successful Ijesha traders employ persuasions, begging, and reporting to retrieve debts. However, when all these instruments of debt retrieval fail, the trader will visit the debtors at odd hours to incapacitate him, squatting in the debtor's house and proclaiming, "Onini ma gbowo mi," meaning I will collect my money today. The debtor has no choice but to look for the money and pay. The deep meaning of the proverb is, fortunes always smile at the audacious. Therefore, Agidi Ijesha is an admiration to eulogize the courage and enterprising acumen of the people. Negative stubbornness, on the other hand, can be seen as a negative trait when it leads to an unwillingness to consider alternative perspectives, close-mindedness, and ignoring consequences. This is bad and shouldn't be romanced. The consequence is summed up in a Yoruba famous saying, "Ọ̀tàlélẹ́gbèje òṣìrí ń bẹ láyé, ọdẹ́kógún, aláyòkọ́gbọ̀n, tinúmi ni ó ṣe lóko yòókù." Meaning, stubborn person end up with vast majority of life hardship. Romantic paradox. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir. Distinguished audience, my clients tag the stubborn goat for ages have been surviving man assaults to contribute to sustainable food security for the accuser, the man. The goat is hated for its behavior while it strives to survive under different conditions, yet cherished for its products. The goat, too good for man to change it, and too bad to live as it is. Aligning with the Yoruba saying, "Aki binu ori, kafifila debadi," being a warning that we do not cut our nose to spoil our face. What a paradox of life. Bias make man passionate and sick, but without bile, man could not live, says Aruevota. The paradox of life. The goat found worldwide are well adapted to different environments. The survival strategy they developed before domestication persisted and equipped them to thrive under different and difficult conditions. Why then, as man, not recognize the persistence of the goat to be accredited, but rather, despite this animal and labor is stubborn. Life is made up of opposites and intertwined, where two contrasts exist together, the good and the evil. This concept is also rooted in the ancient Yoruba philosophy, Tibitire Ladale Aye, meaning within good you find evil, and within evil you find some goods. Sir Vice Chancellor, sir. Distinguished audience, the point of contention is this: what made the goat stubborn as claimed by man? Does stubbornness in goat means when on its own, in its natural habitat, striving to survive, having been neglected by man? The short answer is this: the smarter the animal or human, the more likely it is to be stubborn. Therefore, the perceived stubbornness in the goat is attributed to their natural independence with instincts for self-survival. The fascinating instincts for survival. Goats have some fascinating instincts that enable them to survive under different conditions. They are great observers and skilled and do not need abundant drone, as they are endowed with remote eyes to launch, navigate, and watch even where you hide your food. They can see 320 to 340 degrees around them. The ability to see everything around them without moving, and well-developed horizontal pupils with a remarkable ability to rotate the head to maintain parallelism with the ground, allow them to look for predators and possible escape routes simultaneously. I invite you to see the beauty of Nigeria goat in a clip.
Introducing Nigerian dwarf goat, the cutest pet mini goat breed that is stealing hearts with their irresistible charm and delightful size, originating from West Africa. Introducing Nigerian dwarf goat, the cutest pet mini goat breed that is stealing hearts with their irresistible charm and delightful size. Originating from West Africa, these adorable goats have adapted across the globe, bringing joy to farms and households alike. With their compact size, friendly disposition, and sparkling eyes, it's impossible not to fall in love at first sight. So why have they become such a popular choice as pets? Nigerian dwarf goats are not just adorable. They're also very gentle and affectionate. They love social interaction, making them the perfect companions for families, even those with children and other pets. Their small stature means they don't require as much space as larger livestock, making them suitable for various living environments. Their playful antics and loving nature will provide endless moments of joy, turning everyday experiences into memorable ones. Despite their miniature size, they're sturdy and robust, requiring relatively straightforward care. Their coats come in a variety of beautiful colors and patterns, adding another layer to their irresistible charm.
My submissions, Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, distinguished audience, I submit that my client, the goat, is not stubborn in a negative sense. Well-raised and managed goats aren't stubborn as labeled by man. Stubbornness linked to goat behavior is caused by man's neglect and failure to take proper care of the goat. The consequence is summed up in a Yoruba saying, "Adìẹ bà lókùn, ara ò rọkùn, ara ò rádìẹ," indicating that to foment trouble is not to be at peace at well. My adventure into goat reproduction. My voyage through research into reproductive physiology in goats started in 1989. Dr. Abiodun Adeloye was assigned to supervise my undergraduate project, and he gave me the opportunity to work on lactating goats. My interest in this field, however, was short-lived. Something unexpected happened, and it completely soured my interest in the field. Sir Vice Chancellor, sir, the long story is not for today. Notwithstanding, Dr. Abiodun Adeloye later left for University of Ilorin, and by his encouragement, I applied to University of Ilorin for MSc, where I researched on the nutrition of the goat. My initial interest in goat reproduction seemed forgotten and buried. The straw that broke the camel's back. The hubs of my research activities varies from ruminant nutrition to reproductive physiology. I needed a job to survive, and I contacted the head, Department of Animal Production, University of Ilorin, who told me the only vacant position was in animal physiology, desperately in need of a job. I discussed the issue with Professor Oluwafemi Olayabalogun, under whose tutelage I learned the practice of poultry production. In his characteristic manner, frank and plain spoken, he bluntly advised me to study animal physiology. What a bitter pill to swallow at a time I needed a job to survive. It took a lot of persuasion to get me to agree. The bitter truth turned out to be a ladder in my journey towards success. I am greatly indebted to him. So, I applied for a PhD program. Then came a painful feeling of humiliations. A condition was attached to my PhD program. I will have to audit some undergraduate courses at 200 and 300 levels in the Department of Human Physiology. At my age then, it was incredible, as I found myself in the classroom with boys and girls who were just a fraction of my age. I eventually ended up becoming the first student to be co-supervised by a professor of human medicine, Professor Ayodele Oluwafemi Sholadoye, a renowned cardiovascular physiologist, was appointed to co-supervise my PhD research. Contributions to knowledge. The trajectory of my research activities diverged into three areas. First, the resilience by the goats. Second, the manipulation of reproductive activities of the goats. And third, the preservation of reproductive garments of the goat. Highlights of my work on the resilience by the goats and insight to assess the physiological basis for adaptation. Although goats adapt to harsh, humid tropical conditions, the basis for their survival under this condition is uncertain. Therefore, my initial preoccupation was the physiological basis for adaptive mechanism in West Africa dual goat. Our findings pointed out some differences from those obtained for other ruminant species and serve as references in which alteration due to nutrient deficiencies, reproductive functions, and health status can be compared. Perhaps the most outstanding feature was the low sodium level obtained in this study compared to other breeds in Nigeria and in temperate regions. That in this respect, goat is probably similar to man that has been reported to have lower sodium levels in tropical environments. The close association between goat and man could be linked to man interactions with the goat during domestications, in line with the Yoruba saying, "Bí ewé bá pẹ́ lára ọṣẹ, á di ọṣẹ," meaning people remain together long enough, rub off on each other. Highlights of my work on manipulation of reproductive activities of the goat. Transition to maturity. The age at which sexual maturity occurs is controversial in tropical goat, with conflicting reports of 6 and 8 to 14 months. Melatonin hormone produced by the pineal glands in the brain plays an important role in gamete maturations and fertilization through gonadotropin-releasing hormone. Not certain of the mechanism involved in melatonin regulation of these important reproductive functions. We administer very levels of melatonin to young male goats, and our findings indicated that melatonin improved testicular measurement and sperm characteristics, induced onset of ejaculation in young male goats at 5 months old, indicating that the male goats reach maturity earlier, with ability to produce healthy sperm for successful conception. The study further afforded us the opportunity to determine the number of female goats that could be inseminated with semen samples. Our finding indicated that 6 female goats could be inseminated with semen samples. And when photoperiods were further combined with 3 mg melatonin in further study, our findings indicated 50 female goats could be inseminated by ejaculate. Setting the wheels in motion for the onset of ovarian activities in goats. One of the difficulties associated with operating an animal breeding enterprise is that almost everything relating to mating or insemination must be done when the female is ready, rather than at the farmer's discretion. Therefore, manipulating ovarian activities to regulate ovulation at a predetermined times become very important. In a further study with melatonin on goat reproduction, our finding revealed that treatment of female goat with 6 mg melatonin resulted in shorter interval between treatment terminations and the onset of heat, longer duration of heat, and a 2.5-fold increase in female goats that came on heat, indicating that the females were at the height of their cycle, receptive to mating, and will undergo artificial insemination. With these findings, goat farmers can use artificial insemination more efficiently, such that genetic materials can be obtained or transferred. This discovery launched us into limelight in global goat research. Our reports subsequently caught the attention of the past president of the International Goat Association, Prof. Morafe, in his letter to me on September 18, 2006. The interesting letter that you published recently demonstrated your high expertise in the goat research sector. So we will be very glad if you could join us by enrolling at IGA to participate in all IGA activities. The preservation of reproductive gametes, bringing extinction to a freeze and advancing goat preservation. The ongoing onslaught on the goat by humans predisposes this animal to extinction. Therefore, the preservation of reproductive garments is a realistic antidote to saving the goat from extinction and a backup for possible future losses in genetic materials required for artificial insemination. This formed the major part of my research activities in goat reproduction. A blessing in disguise. Opportunities often comes disguised in the form of misfortune or temporary defeat, says Napoleon Hill. The beginning of my research in crop preservation was met with difficulty. I was to write a proposal for the FUNAP 2012 research grant. I had almost finished the write-up on a particular Friday, having had a long day, leaving my laptop in the office in the weekend, thinking or planning to put a finishing touches, and then the following Monday, pick up and submit to meet the deadlines. On Monday morning, on getting to my office, I found my door open and my laptop could not be found. In a popular quote traced to Thomas Edison, when his manufacturing facility got burned, says there is values in disaster. All our mistakes are born of. Now we can start anew. In the face of this hurdle, then came the cherished attribute of the goat, stubbornness, a driving force that propelled me to swiftly garner strength and start afresh. The proposal was accepted, and my research in crowd preservation of goat semen was founded and enabled my attendance at the Crowd 2013 in Berlin, Germany. The Congress attracted delegates from over 37 countries, including myself, representing Nigeria, which formed the cradle of my experience in crowd preservation. Pioneering the goat crowd preservation research. In Nigeria, prior to this time, there was no scientific report published on the crowd preservation of goat semen. It is salutary to note that attempts to store semen have been recorded using cold, liquid, or chilling. Some other published works on semen storage misinterpreted cold, liquid, or chilling for crowd preservation. My research into crowd preservation of goat semen therefore stemmed from this mindset. A large number of studies and indeed pioneer research in our great university, FUNAB, and Nigeria in general have been published in international outlets. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, today, FUNAB and Nigeria are registered and are visible on the global map of goat preservation. From my work in crowd preservation, 5 students backed their PhD degree. My research activities in crowd preservation came to the limelight in 2017 when National Biotechnology Development Agency, under the auspices of Federal Ministry of Science and Technology, invited me to make a presentation at the expert roundtable session on success story in the preservation of goat semen in Nigeria. It is gratifying to know that among scientists invited from different institutions and universities across Nigeria, I was the only presenter of crowd preservation as a tool for preserving animal genetic resources. And subsequently, I was appointed a member of National Action Plan on Animal Genetic Resources and a member of National Advisory Committee on Animal Genetic Resources. Crowd preservation, a perilous adventure. Crowd preservation is a process of maintaining cellular life at extremely low temperatures, usually in liquid nitrogen, at minus 196 degrees Celsius. The joining of cells into crowd preservation commences from the laboratory at a pre-departure temperature of 25 degrees Celsius, with a brief stopover in a cold room at 4 degrees Celsius for equilibrations. Thereafter, the cell proceeds in a hazardous terrain at minus 60 degrees Celsius and combat with cold shock, finally landing in the cryogenic domain at minus 196 degrees Celsius. Under this domain, cells are laden with gruesome cryo injury and toxicities. Cellular and metabolic activities are also attenuated to a near standstill, and the entry into this domain is suddenly met with oxidative stress. Therefore, to mitigate these adverse effects, series of studies were carried out. Avocado, an alternative to egg yolk and milk in semen extender. Preserving goat semen can be challenging because of harmful effects of seminal plasma on spermatozoa, an enzyme originating from the bulboretral gland secretions. So, we advanced the search for alternatives and tested the seed of avocado, Acea americana. And our findings, I was excited that 20% avocado seed extra, similar to egg yolk required in semen extender, could improve sperm qualities and reduce oxidative stress, indicating cryopreserved spermatozoa will successfully undergo fertilization. This was a milestone for me because the barrier created by the interaction between bulboretral gland secretions and egg yolk or milk seemed to have been intercepted. Trigger of prerequisite for fertilization. One of the unresolved problems during cryopreservation is the evaluation of sperm quality, such that series of biochemical events requisite for sperm competence to undergo fertilization can be determined. This poses some problem and challenge to us. Electrons or optical microscope required for this evaluation was difficult to come by. After much search, we discovered a close substitute, fluorescent microscope, that could help to separate spermatozoa that undergo spontaneous acrosome reaction. We therefore proceeded in further study with pyridosines, vitamin B6. And our findings indicated that pyridosine at 6 millimolar improved motility, in vitro fertilization, sperm capacitation, and in vitro acrosome reaction of cryopreserved spermatozoa, indicating that cryopreserved spermatozoa has capability and preparing for crucial journey towards fertilization. This was a turning point for me because in the annals of reproduction, the determination of sperm capacitation and acrosome reaction are epoch-making achievement and enormous leaps in successful artificial insemination. Excited by this finding, I therefore prepared the manuscript for publication. Unfortunately, the manuscript was rejected on the excuse that outdated methods were used. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, distinguished audience, there was a ray of hope behind this seemingly unsavory rejection. In physiology, as in all other sciences, no curiosity is misplaced or too ambitious, and we may be certain that every advance achieved in the quest of pure knowledge will sooner or later play its part in the service of man, says Ernest Stanley. So, we did reviews on the lab work and resent to another outlet, Small Ruminant Research, that has consistently rejected my manuscript for almost a decade. Amazing, for the first time, it was accepted and published in volume 131. Inhibiting the cryoinjury. Goat spermatozoa are susceptible to cryoinjury because of high content of unsaturated fatty acid in the phospholipids, coupled with low antioxidant capacity of goat seminal plasma. Inhibiting this cryoinjury is therefore important if sperm quality is to be maintained. We proceeded to assess the sperm viability of goats, but using vitrifications, coconut milk alone, or supplementation with pyridosines, the tools for removing cryoinjuries. Our findings indicated that inclusion of coconut milk at 15 and 20% or supplementation with pyridosine at 8 millimolar improve in vitro sperm capacitation and in vitro acrosome reaction, improve sperm viability parameters, and reduce malaldehyde concentration, the oxidative footprints, indicating absence of oxidative damage to the spermatozoa. Separating the wheat from the chaff. one of the detrimental effects of bulbourethral gland secretions, remain unresolved due to egg yolk or milk when they are used in extender. This egg yolk, known as known as semen, and the shafts, known as seminal plasma, does more harm than good to spermatozoa. And there is need to remove or separate this wheat, this semen that house spermatozoa from the shaft, the bulbourethral gland secretions. Attempts was made to remove seminal plasma by centrifugations, and findings indicated that removal of seminal plasma improves sperm motility, sperm capacitation, and acrosome reaction of goat bugs during cryopreservation. Then came the challenge of cytotoxicities. Despite our previous finding, cytotoxicities present a challenge of cell damage and reduced viabilities. All attempts to address this important subject through manual cooling and equilibration failed. Then came a circle. We discovered refrigerated incubators in the next door laboratory of the Department of Person and Range Management that could assist to solve this problem through appropriate cooling rate and equilibrations. Thanks to Professor J. Olamitibo, the then HOD, by whose kindness this incubator was made available. We therefore launched further into washing protocol, a tool for removing harmful substances that could cause cell damage. And our findings indicated improved sperm motility, acrosome integrity, and sperm capacitation. Also, we observed reduced malondialdehyde concentrations, the oxidative footprints in cryopreserved semen. Cryopreservation is safe adventures. From our studies, the adverse effects of cryopreservations have been addressed. In particular, alternatives to animal products have been discovered. The barrier created by the interaction of seminal plasma and egg yolk has been intercepted. The problem of assessing the biochemical events has also been resolved. Susceptibility to ghost spermatozoa to cryo injury and cytotoxicity have been addressed. The coat is now clear, and the joining of spermatozoa all through cryopreservation is now safe for successful artificial insemination. Contribution to human development. I have, in the past 2 decades, taught thousands of undergraduate and postgraduate students in the field of animal physiology. I have mentored and supervised 6 PhDs to completions. I've also supervised 9 MAGRI candidates to completion and several undergraduates, including Rufai Hussein, a well-known co-host and journalist on Arise Television. I have been privileged to bring the gown closer to the town. My engagement covers a series of seminars and interactive sessions on artificial insemination with staff of National Biotechnological Development Agency, Bioresources Development Centers, and representatives of Law Farmer Association of Nigeria in Owode, Yewa South Local Government of Ogun State. My work on sustainable agriculture and animal science earned me the Merit Award of Westford Foundation, Germany in 2005 for sustainable agriculture in sub-Saharan Africa. I serve as pioneer coordinators and head of program for FUNAM Foreign African Scholarship Scheme. I serve as a member of 3-man team that visited Sierra Leone on request by the Sierra Leone government for assistance to establish the College of Veterinary Medicine in Ujala University, Sierra Leone. Conclusion. Stubbornness and my clients, the goat, exemplify a romantic paradox and provide a fascinating perspective on understanding the goat and its relationship with humans, whether viewed positively or negatively. Goats continue to capture our imagination and highlight the complexity and interconnectedness of our world. Goats have played a significant role in our world throughout history and can make us feel happier and better connected to the universe. However, if uncontrolled, neglected, or uncatered for, literally in the next breath, the goat can become the catalyst that pushes us into a hole of despair. Therefore, instead of ascribing stubbornness in the negative sense to the goats or people that are resilient in pursuit of a noble goal, there should be a new saying: you are as smart as a goat. We can then turn around in Yoruba parlance and say, ewúrẹ́ jẹ́ ẹran ilé tó ní ìfaradà, ṣùgbọ́n torí àìlóye ènìyàn àti àìbìkítà olówó rẹ̀, ó máa ń jìyà púpọ̀. Tí wọ́n bá na ewúrẹ́, yóò padà sẹ́yìn, ṣebí ọgbọ́n ló lọ mú wá. Á tún padà síbi tí ó ti jìyà lẹ́ẹ̀kan, nítorí ó jẹ́ ẹran tó ní ìpinnu, ó ní ìtara láti yè. Gbogbo ènìyàn ẹ gbọ́, ẹ fi agídí ewúrẹ́ kọ́gbọ́n, ẹran tó ní ìfaradà púpọ̀. Recommendation, Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, having extensively discussed the economic importance of goats in food security, their distinguished attributes, and my research activities in advancing their preservation, I seek your permission to make the following recommendations. An improvement in goat management, including adequate care, feeding and shelter in an environment embraced by humans, to limit the mismatch between the traits goats have developed to survive in their natural habitat and the behavior they express with humans is suggested. Secondly, the establishment of crowd center in Funab and in the 6th geopolitical zone of Nigeria by the federal government. The center, with a mandate to process and crowd preserve semen in different doses, would deliver frozen semen preferably to farmer doorstep through trained mobile artificial insemination personnel. This will serve as a source of internally generated revenue for the university. Acknowledgement. I appreciate the management of Great Funab, headed by the Vice Chancellor, Professor Olushola Babatunde Kehinde, working hard towards achieving the gold status, greatest of all time, for the opportunity to present today's inaugural lecture. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, distinguished audience, today is February 26, a day recognized as National Letter Day to another day, when people worldwide are encouraged to put pen to paper and write to others they know. It is therefore a privilege to put pen to paper and acknowledge some elders and individuals who have touched my life and contributed to my success. I appreciate my late parents, Pa Michael Daramola and Mama Abike Daramola, for my upbringings. I recognize my late siblings, Mr. Roland Dada Ajorin, Mr. Ojo Ajorin, Mrs. Wemimo Oladele, and amiable brothers, Engineer Samuel Oluteye Ajorin, for cares and commitment to my education. A lovely and pleasant brother, Mr. Sunday Adaramoye Daramola, for the sacrifice and unalloyed support for my education. A gracious daddy, Mr. Folu Omogbeja, his ceaseless kindness means a lot to me. Mama Cecilia Ajorin, all effort to get the money for my final year undergraduate project failed. Mama Cecilia Ajorin, my brother's wife, sacrificially gave the money. Grandpa, Mrs. Grace Adetifa, an epitome of grace, for keeping my spirit high even during challenging times. Professor Mrs. Elizabeth Abide Balogun, an edifice of patience and a role model worthy of emulation. I appreciate her love and care. Dr. Mrs. Esther Adeloye, a gracious woman, endowed with generosity and hospitality. In the most difficult times of my trials, she was there taking me all around in search for a job. Late Mrs. Rachel Oyindasola Abogunrin, she was kind and accommodating. Mrs. Olufolake Oladuni Oyeyemi, a former registrar at the University of Ilorin, for her unprecedented kindness and in whose embrace I got the lecturing work or job. Professor Mrs. Bolanle Olubusola Iranloye, Head of Department of Physiology, College of Medicine, University of Lagos. Her advice guided me on the path to selecting the title for my PhD research. I appreciate the leadership of Deeper Life Bible Church for the spiritual impact through different means of grace over the years. I thank the amiable Deeper Life families, Deeper Life Eleweron Group, headed by Pastor Wesley Oshun, pastor, workers, and members. I appreciate Pastor Joel Olubunmi Afolayan of the Apostolic Church Nigeria for the prayer and support. Professor Oluwafemi Olayabalogun, a first class administrator, former Vice Chancellor of Grateful Now. He challenged me to think outside the box. He advised me to study animal physiology. I've learned a lot and benefited from his wealth of experience. He's saying, Ole ni Orayewa shaped my life. He appointed me as a pioneer coordinator and program leader for FUNAM Foreign African Scholarship Scheme. The great onward amiable team, AMP family, past and present head of department, academic colleagues, administrative and technical staff, my students who contributed to the success of my goal research. Professor Olusegun Ayodeji Oshinowo, the pioneer head of department, animal physiology. He shortlisted me for this job. His vision and leadership for AMP has proven enduring and for steering the AMP team towards success with clarity and determination. Professor Okonlawo Mohammed Onogbesan, a very nice senior colleague for the encouragement and uninterrupted collaboration in research and publication. A pleasant friend and colleagues, late Abimbola Oluseun Ladokun, Professor of Reproductive Physiology for the academic relationship we share. Colanis, a pleasant family, the past and present deans of Colani, academic colleagues, administrative and technical staff, everyone in Colanis. Late Professor Oluseyi Oluwajubelo Oluwatosi for the honor and law support. Late Professor Olufemi Sunday Onifade, he gave the chain link for the fencing of my goal research unit. Late Professor Olajide Ayorinde Adeyemi for his moral support. Professor J. Olanise, by whose kindness the incubator was made available. Professor Mrs. Daisy Erubertin for keeping me informed and informed. Emeritus Professors Oluwafunmilayo Ayoka Adebambo, Nigeria's first female professor of animal breeding and genetics. She graciously granted permission to use some building materials for the construction of my goat research unit. Professor C.O.N. Ikiobi, highly distinguished university orator and former Deputy Vice Chancellor of Academy, for his concern and encouragement. Professor Richard Abayo Mishobayo, amiable friends, for his support. My primary schools and secondary school teacher. My English teacher, Mr. Clay King. My teachers at Adeyemi College of Education, Ondo. My teachers at the Department of Animal Production, University of Ilorin. My teachers at the Department of Human Physiology, University of Ilorin. Professor Bolanle Olubusola Iranloye. Professor Bamdele Victor Uweye. Professor Lawrence Olatunji. I appreciate my wonderful in-law, Lepa Michael Adeoti Ajala, and Mama Tinuola Abeni Ajala, who graciously accepted me and gave me their first daughter. My wife's sibling for their support. My family friends at Ilorin. My family friends at Abeokuta. Members in Ayo Community Association, headed by Mr. Apoka for good neighborliness. My classmate at Idogun High School, IHS 84 set. My classmate who pioneered the BA Agri-Science with me. Members of Great Abikan Deeper Life Campus Fellowship, 85 to 90 set at Adeyemi College of Education, Ondo, headed by Pastor Oludu William. My companions at the University of Ilorin, Professor Roland Kayode, Professor Eniola Oluwatoyin Olorunsoya for their support. My colleagues in FUNAMS and University of Ilorin for the support. Professor Tolulope Julius William, he stood in the gap for me when my head started to go downhill. Dr. Mrs. Oluwatosi Imade. She was left with a permanent scar, accidentally split on her body. While assisting in the lab work, I salute her courage and doggedness. I appreciate members of International Goat Association Nigeria chapter. Thank you for being part of the effort to save the goat from abuse, neglect, and extinction. I salute the trials of former DVCs, Professor C.F. Uwoka, Professor S.T. Lagoki, and Professor T. Arowolo, former director of Senate, now DVC Academy, Professor O.D. Akinyemi, the veteran coach, Professor H.A. Bodunde, members, publication committees, members, ceremonial committee, member, AMP, Inaugural Lecture Committee, headed by Dr. O.E. Okay. To my dedicated and devoted former research students, and some now my colleagues, Dr. Oluwafemi Ezekiel Adekunle, my first PhD student, who collaborated with me in pioneering research in cow goat preservation. Professor Ayodele Olufemi Sholadoye, a renowned cardiovascular physiologist, he co-supervised my PhD thesis. I appreciate his wife, Mrs. Stella Sholadoye, for generous and accommodating. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, distinguished audience, I am indeed privileged to be under the tutelage of a university teacher who devoted his research on the goats. My undergraduates, masters, and PhD research works on goats were conducted under his supervision. Former Dean Faculty of Agriculture, University of Ilorin, the man gave me leadership worthy of emulation. He gave me the idea to write and encouraged me in the art of publishing. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, distinguished audience, Abiodun Adefumilayo Adeloye, a professor of ruminant nutrition, deserved the prestigious honor to gold status, gallant, optimistic, adventuresome teacher. I appreciate my children, Junior, Julia, Gis, and Joy. A remarkable individual, a very selfless couple with a big heart. She appears small, yet allow others to belong. A sister, a friend, best friend indeed, a mother, a writer and film producer. My wife, Mrs. Eunice Oluwafunke Daramola, thank you. Above all, Mr. Vice Chancellors, distinguished audience, I've had a traumatic life filled with drama. My mind could quickly scan the past in a home where I grew up with a group of young boys and girls who attended St. Paul Anglican Primary School, Idogu. We had always dreamed of the end of 6 years to enter a new world of college. Finally, the day came, a very good morning to be respected, to break the long wait and leave the school portal. Then the headmaster appeared for a farewell speech. Amazing, he grouped us into 3. The first group, the young ones, were congratulated, having gained admission into the college. The second group, the young ones, could not gain admission, but to the headmaster, this group had hope. So he encouraged them to make further attempts. The third group, the old folks, could not gain admission, but to the headmaster, this group had little or no hope to make it through to the college. So they were advised to learn a form of trade. Many among the old folks accepted the verdict. Mr. Vice Chancellor, sir, distinguished audience, a popular quote traced to Amos Dobia states, "Everyone is a genius, but if you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will spend its whole life believing that it is stupid." So, by providence, the stage of labor hopelessness was not to last. The Creator intervened to reshape the stage and gave it a better foundation. Today's inaugural lecture happened to be among the old folks. God has been good to me. God has been great in my life. God has been gracious unto me. What a great privilege. Giving offerings acceptable to the triumph. The greater than the greatest of all time. His goodness is summarized in this amazing song. Can you please rise up to sing with me? And in all my life,
you have been faithful.
and
And all With every breath I am able. Oh, I will sing of the goodness of God.
Thank you all for listening.
Please, you can have your seats. You can have your. Thank you so very much, distinguished guests. You'll agree with me that this has been a very interesting inaugural lecture. Thank you very much. Professor But then, maybe he won't receive it because I will have abused the goods. So, Prof, on behalf of the university, I present this to you, which is our product from the university. Thank you so very much. Congratulations. Please have your seat. Thank you very much. What an interesting inaugural lecture. Thank you so very much. So, we have come to the end of the 98th inaugural lecture of our university. And please permit me to just appreciate some people and to thank them for gracing this inaugural lecture. First of all, once again, I want to appreciate the family of Professor James Olamitibo Daramola. That's the wife, Mrs. Eunice Daramola. And then the children who are here. Thank you, madam. Boluwatife Daramola, Moyoluwa Daramola, Oluwafemi Daramola, and Oluwadara Daramola. Thank you so very much. We also thank and appreciate Mr. and Mrs. Sunday and Olabisi Daramola, the brother to the inaugural lecturer. Also, we appreciate Mr. and Mrs. Samuel and Cecilia Daramola, also brother to the inaugural lecturer. Thank you, sirs and ma'ams, for coming. Of course, Professor and Mrs. Abiodun and Esther Adeloye, the inaugural lecturer supervisor. Prof, thank you so very much. Thank you for this product that you have given us. We appreciate you. Thank you. And of course, we also thank and appreciate Professor Elizabeth Balogun, a former staff of our university, now retired, and the wife of our fourth Vice Chancellor, Professor Oluwafemi Olayabalogun. We appreciate the presence of Emeritus Professor Ayoka Adebambo, a foremost researcher and the owner of the FUNAB Alpha patent. You are welcome, ma. We thank sincerely the person seated next to her, Professor Murenike Dikpeolu, the former DVC academic. Thank you, ma. And of course, with great joy, I was really delighted and happy to see the Baba of Animal Physiology in FUNAB. The Baba of Animal Physiology in FUNAB, Professor Olusegun Oshinowo. Professor Olusegun Oshinowo, nice to see you, sir. God bless you. Thank you so much. Of course, Professor C.O. Nikeobi, former DVC academic, you are welcome. Thank you, sir, for joining us. And Professor Sam Otubusin, retired but not tired, always present at our lectures, ever vibrant. Professor Sam Otubusin, you are welcome. We also appreciate the members of Ifokobale Imole community and also members of the Department of Animal Physiology in their attire. Thank you so very much. And of course, we recognize the presence of Professor Babatunde Idowu, the former Vice Chancellor of Glorious Vision University, Ogwa in Edo State. I know it must be somewhere there. Distinguished Senate members, everybody present, thank you so very much. It's been an interesting time listening to the 98th inaugural lecture of our university. God bless you.
Thank you very much, sir. Please, a round of applause for the Vice Chancellor once again. We have come to the end of the 98th inaugural lecture of this great citadel of learning. Please, let's listen to the following announcement. For the academic staff, we are going to go through the through the exit A on my right, while for the non-teaching staff, you go through the exit B on my left. For the students, you remain in the gallery for your entertainment, while the procession will file out in the reverse order through the central hall. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, please let us rise for the anthem. The FUNAB anthem, followed by the national anthem. Thank you very much. National anthem, please.
Nigeria, we hail thee, our own dear native land. Though tribe and tongue may differ, in brotherhood we stand.
Thank you very much. Please, let's wait for the procession to file out in the reverse order before we all follow the exit route. Thank you very much. We have come to the end of the university's 98th inaugural lecture titled Stubbornness and the Goat, a Romantic Paradox. And it was delivered by a world-renowned expert in reproductive physiology, Professor James Olamitibo, Daramola, of the Department of Animal Physiology, College of Animal Science and Livestock Production. Thank you very much. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to also recognize the presence of the Dean, College of Veterinary Medicine of this great citadel of learning on the procession, Professor Olushola Ajayi. Also, the Deputy Dean, College of Animal Science and Livestock Production, Professor John Adesoya Abiono. Please, I would also like to respectfully recognize the presence of the wife of the fourth substantive Vice Chancellor of this great university, in whose name this hallowed ceremonial building is named after. Professor Olushola Baba, Professor Oluwafemi Olaiya Balogun Ceremonial Building. His wife is here, Professor Elizabeth Balogun. Also, we have in our midst, in this 98th inaugural lecture, an Amazon